My goal is to have, at least $50 million stores that have come under my watch, and we're not too far. Well, we're close.
Wow, that's awesome,
man. Yeah, we're getting there. I'll let you in on a little secret, which a lot of early stage or
come on, give it to me.
E-commerce stores don't realize. All the big brands, they make 50 to 60% of their revenue purely from it.
Hey there, I'm Ty here, one of the founders of Shopify app, MonsterUpsells, the upsell app built for brands that want to scale. Look, enough about me. I've got some links down below, but today we're here to interview the e-commerce entrepreneur and business coach, Brendan Gillen. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, mate. Thanks for having me. I'm really pumped to be here.
Awesome. I'm super pumped to have you on. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. I've kind of worked in the same kind of space as you, but probably not to the same levels. And I'm super stoked to be able to pick your mind and hopefully get some things that I learn, and then I can pass back to the audience as well.
Yeah, likewise. It's great. Always great to chat with other people in the industry and the community, hear about what they're doing, and hopefully I can share some stuff to help you out.
Brendan just listed in the top 50 in e-commerce in 2022. Is that an Australian-wide?
Yeah, it is. It's in Australia. It's hosted by Inside Retail. It's been around for, actually, I don't know how many years, but it's definitely been at least 5 or 6 years it's been around, Inside Retail. And, it's got, the type of people that get ranked in there, people that run like Adore Beauty, Woolworths, Officeworks. So it's the creme de la creme of e-commerce people.
It's a big deal, man. I'm super proud.
It's great to be part of it.
He's also got tons of experience, 15 years of experience scaling e-commerce brands into $1 million businesses. You might have heard some of the brands that he's worked with. So Petstock, 2XU, and you've probably heard of Superdry. That's big brands. And he's got a ton of ventures as well. As soon as I started peeling back the onions layer of Brendan, I was like, what the heck? There's just more and more coming everywhere. Like, tell me if you've got more ventures or I'm getting something wrong here, right? You own an e-commerce coaching company called $1 Million Store. We'll talk about that later. You've got the e-commerce factory, which is an agency that helps brands scale. And then you've also recently acquired big brands like Fight Gear Direct and Colourpod earbuds. What the heck?
Yeah.
Worlds there.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. So I do have my fingers in a few pies, you could say, but really the core of what I do is I just help stores grow. That's all I do. So all my businesses help stores grow. The e-commerce factory or a Shopify partner agency, and we help stores grow. The e-commerce investments, which is where we acquire businesses, we just help stores grow, and they're our own stores. So really the guts of what I do is I just like helping stores grow. $1 Million Store, I do that for other people. So really I do all the same. I do the same thing, but I just do it across all the different verticals. That's all. That's
awesome, man. You found your space. You found your mojo, eh?
Yeah, 100%. It's great.
I love it, man. And you started in IT and you made the switch to, well, I'm sure there was something in between. You went from IT to $1 Million Store coach. What's the go there?
Yeah, it's a really, look, I think about it in 2 ways. So usually people in e-commerce are sort of techie. So actually there's 2 types of people in e-commerce. One's a creative and one's a techie, left brain, right brain type thing. Interestingly, I think I sit around both of them. So when I was in IT, we did a lot of nerdy, techie, setting up computers, systems integration, all the stuff that makes all the pieces of the puzzle go together. One of the tasks that I was given in IT was, well, computers, why don't you build us a website? And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, sure, I can do that. So I went ahead and started, I built the website for this company I was working in IT for. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty fun. It pulls in some of my history. When I was at school, I did graphic design and media and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, IT and media all sort of works together. And then I got the bug of building websites. And on the side, I started to build websites for people. And then I just sort of thought, well, that's much more fun than going under desks and plugging in cables for people or setting up servers and lots of things. So I started a digital agency about 15 years ago that built websites for tradies. And we just built websites for tradesmen like plumbers, carpenters, all those sorts of things.
Wow.
And that was really cool. Really, really liked that. So that was moving from IT into digital is sort of how I got there.
Yeah, awesome. And then you went and did you go from there to Superdry? You were doing something in there at a high level, or?
No, you actually missed one brand that I might not have told you that. But when I was
the secret brand.
The secret brand is probably the pivotal brand. But basically what happened was when I was doing websites for tradies, we sold that business off and it was really good.
Wow.
But I got picked up by Pacific Brands as a consultant to help them grow their Hard Yakka business. So Hard Yakka, if you don't know about it, is a workwear brand in Australia that does they do work pants, boots. For those Victorians out here, you might know the the ad like hard yakka, like they do that brand. So I helped them build the hard yakka brand e-commerce business. And then we did King G and Stubbies and Totally Workwear, all these really big Australian brands.
Wow.
And that was, we were playing in Magento and e-commerce in that world. So that got me into that sort of big brand space. And then from there, I went to Petstock after about 3 or 4 years with those guys.
Magento, hey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We'll just leave that word there, will we?
Hey, I've done my time with Magento, and the time was, hey guys, this isn't working. Let's switch to Shopify.
Right answer.
That was basically it. Cool. Well, I've got a lot of stuff jam-packed in. You even said this before. You've got a lot of questions here. It's because I just want to move fast and get as much as we can out of you. Straight up, what do you say your superpower is in e-commerce?
Someone asked me that the other week, actually, and I think I am really good at making the complicated uncomplicated. Okay? This is probably the way I think about it. So if you think about IT, can be really complicated. If you think about e-commerce, can be really complicated. What I like to do is pull systems together and simplify things. And that's what my superpower is how do we make the complicated, uncomplicated, and simple that everyone can understand and execute. And it's probably why my favorite tech stack is Shopify Klaviyo, because it just has no right being that easy to do things. If you think about the Magento world, that's a nightmare. Basically, I keep things simple is my superpower.
I love it, man. I love it. And are you just really good at systems as well? Like, would you say you decomplicate, build systems and allow people to replicate them and put them into their own businesses and things like that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like finding a framework or a system and just being able to repeat it. Yeah, frameworks is where I operate. Yeah, 100%. Everything in me operates in a framework. I need to think about it. I'm like, okay, we've got to put a marketing campaign out place. Great, got a framework for that. Let's do that.
That's fantastic.
We need to optimize a product page. Yep, got a framework for that. So it has to be that way, because if you want to scale, you need to do things in frameworks and repeatable processes.
I love it. I know I'm going to learn something from you, man. This is not my strength. See, I'm the marketing. I come from like drop shipping, direct response marketing. Like I got in that way, and that's how I got into e-commerce and coaching and helping people scale. But so another question here. So why did you specifically decide to make the change from employee to business? I thought you were going from Superdry into buying a business and acquisition and stuff, but I might have got this around the wrong way. But yeah, what's the mindset for you?
No, you're 100% right. I did go from Superdry into running my own business. So prior to all that, when I mentioned I did run my own digital agency, I think at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Yep.
And, all the roles that I was in, the way it seemed to work, and it sounds like I had lots of roles, but I think it just goes with my DNA. I like to come into somewhere, build it, scale it, and then I'm done. So I build it up and give it to someone, and then they run it. I don't know if I'm great at running things, but I'm great at building and scaling. So when I look back on my career history, I go, well, geez, I've been at a handful of places. Why is that? But they all followed the same process or framework, you could almost say. And that was, I go in there, I build the store, I get it up and running. I put the systems and processes in place so someone else can do it. And then I get bored and I'm like, okay, next project, please. So that's exactly what happened. And then I thought, well, at the end of Superdry, why don't I do this for myself? And how can I do it on scale? Because it's time for me to put my money where my mouth is and give it a go. And I just thought, here, this is it. Now, time is now.
There's definitely a big difference of in that space of like you're spending someone else's money, like the budgets kind of disappear and you're like, I'm spending someone else's money. I know this is all going to work, but when you start spending your own money and putting your own money where your mouth is, it's a whole different ball game.
It is, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, let's move forward. I want to talk about acquisition, which is something I haven't really heard people talk about too much in the e-commerce space. I've heard people like getting acquired, but I haven't personally seen too much on that. And you've acquired 2 brands in the last 12 months, is it?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right. Yep.
Two brands. So Fight Gear Direct and Colourpod.
Colourpods.
Colourpod. Sorry.
Yeah, these are there. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a look at them. I'm like, man, I need to get myself some of those. I've got these dodgy little ones. Yeah. These are just so I can listen to my microphone. It's a bit silly. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry. I've got better ones somewhere else. Okay, cool. Let's talk about acquisition. So people normally say build a brand and a business around your passion in life. And that's I feel like that's where most people will be coming from that are watching this video right now. And it feels like you have taken a completely different approach. Like you've still got your passions, your mojo, like building, growing stores and things like that. But you've kind of skipped that process from start, from like startup level. And why Aquire? Why not build your own? What have you done there?
So I did a personality test a while back, and it came back and it said that I'm a personality type called a mechanic. And what that means is I don't build cars, I fix them and make them go better.
Okay.
And I feel that's really spot on, because if all the brands I've worked on, I didn't create the brand, I didn't create the product, I didn't create anything. I came in and I seen the brand and the product was there, and I just needed some help to get better. And so I felt that I was better at seeing some missed opportunities for some brands.
Yeah.
And with my experience, looking at them going, well, you know, I could acquire that business and put my frameworks and processes into it and see it grow. And that's exactly what happened. So the startup brand building phase, I'm not really that interested in that, to be honest.
Wow.
I like taking people's hard work that they've done, rewarding them for that, and then 10 timesing it after that. So that's sort of, I'm definitely that, you know, let's not build it from scratch. Let's grab one that someone's done some really good work on and almost take advantage of that and grow it, you know, even better.
Yeah, cool. Look, there's some people that are watching. Someone actually asked in the Facebook group. I think you already wrote back to them in one of the Facebook groups, but I thought I should bring it up here. They were asking the question about when is it time to call it quits? And I'm just wondering if you're like, if you've had to tell brands that you're like, hang on, that startup phase isn't quite meshing, like you haven't actually got the product to market fit. Does that ever happen when people come to you?
Yeah, look, there's also, yes, definitely that has happened. So, you know, a lot of people start online stores as hobbies and then they go, well, how do I make this really amazing? But, you know, you've got to look at how big is the market that you're selling to? How crowded is the market you're selling to? How much capital have you got to invest in the market that you're selling to?
Yeah.
And, you know, can you compete? So, you know, there's people out there that are trying to sell candles online, you know, and they're like, they might come to me and say,
there will literally be people selling candles that are watching this video right now.
Perfect. So I've got some advice for you.
There we go.
So you're selling candles online. What is your unique difference with your candle? Firstly, okay. Some core unique differences are price. Obviously, that's one difference. Product, you know, and what's the other one? Product, price. I can't think what the other one is now. But positioning. So where you're placed in where you can get your product from. E-commerce takes that away, and you can get it from anyone. Problem with something like candles is, they're heavy, right, and they're cheap.
Yeah.
And the barrier to entry is really low. I could set up a candle store tomorrow, no problem. So you look at that and you go, well, what's your competitive advantage in that space?
Yep.
Firstly, if it's cheap, you don't have any money to spend on marketing, and you have to spend lots because it's competitive. And if it's cheap and easy barrier to entry, then you're going to have large competition. So if someone comes to me and said, I want to scale my candle store, I'd say, no, thank you. Because their average order value will be way too low. You know, heavy to ship around, and it's hard. It's easy to compete in that industry. So they're the sort of ways I look at stores. Yep. If you have a unique product, a unique market differentiator, you're not in a crowded space, and your profit margins allow you to invest back into the brand, then we can go with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally, man. I've had this conversation with a lot of people. Like I posted something in a Facebook group a little while ago saying, why should a customer buy from you? What makes you unique? And literally it was, people were answering exactly what you were saying. So there were fashion stores or there were candle stores, and they were saying, I make candles and I'm a nice person. Like it was as simple as that. Like I make candles, or I buy clothes and they're great, but there was no story behind them. There's no unique anything. And I think the bigger brands can compete with their big budgets and things like that and get in front of a ton of eyeballs that way. But then if you don't have that, you need to have a story. Like with candles, maybe you can be going, hey, like this candle doesn't just give back, it also feeds someone who does this and does this. And you've got to add more and more on top of it. The product needs to be bigger than the physical product, I feel.
No, you're spot on. And that's not to say you can't scale a candle store.
Yeah.
You just need to know what your differentiator is. And, you know, I do know people that run very successful homewares, candle stores type businesses, but that's not all they sell. They have a range of products. They can do upsells, they can do cross sells, they can do, subscription models. There are many ways to, burn the candle, you could say, or skin the cat.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are many ways to do it. It's just what makes you different from someone else. And if you can't tell me that in the first 10 seconds and we can't work it out, then it's going to be really hard to scale your store.
10 seconds.
Yeah, all these things don't go well. Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying 10 seconds. So make it small, unique. You got to be able to tell your difference straight away. Like, small amount of
We do
One
a
sentence.
100%. We do a workshop in the $1 Million Store where we talk about what your special sauce is or what your unique value proposition is. And if you can't explain to someone at a barbecue why they and over eating a sausage and a piece of bread, why they should buy your product over someone else's, then you don't have a differentiator. If you can't convince your friend at a barbecue to buy your product, then you can't convince someone that doesn't know anything about you. So you got to know the differences.
There you go, guys. Start going to barbecues and pitching your product to your friends. Yeah. Cool. I want to jump back to acquisition. So there's also some other people here who will be listening and going, hey, I want to be acquired one day. And you've been on the other end. You're acquiring stores. Do you get to see many businesses? Have you gone through and said no to a whole heap to get to those two?
Yeah, I look at businesses every day. Every single day I look at businesses because you just never know when one pops up.
Yeah.
I just look at a couple of things, and I guess two questions you asked there is how should someone look at when they want to sell a business, and how do I acquire a business?
Yep.
I'll do the later first. So I look at is there an opportunity that someone hasn't exposed in their business? So I look for businesses I can improve on first, right? So if I look at it and I say, they're fully leveraged in Facebook marketing, they're not touching email, and they got no SEO, then maybe there's an opportunity in email there that I could leverage. Then I look at the competitive set on the space, how many other people are selling that product? How hard is it getting to that market? Is there money in that market, right? So I had one come along to me recently, which was selling scuba gear for deep sea divers.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go, well, okay, interesting niche, but how big is that market?
Yep.
It's not very big. Well, I don't think it's very big. I didn't go any further because I'm like, well, I don't really know anyone that does. I don't know nothing about that market.
It's a risky thing for you to probably invest in.
Yeah, exactly. And you go, well, and then it could be seasonal and I don't know enough about it, but it could be still a very strong business for someone in that community.
Yeah.
But so I look at it, okay, how big is the market? Can I penetrate it? Can I use my skills? Can I grow the product line?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So then also what is your multiples of your profit? So I then okay, well, what's the profitability of this business? And is it worth what they're asking is the next part.
Okay, cool.
Things like that. So that's sort of the first one. And someone setting up their business to sell, you need to be able to present your numbers straight away and know them really well. And when I say numbers, you need to know what your profitability is on your product. And that's not just how much you buy a product and how much you sell it for, but it's what are your overheads, what are your marketing costs, how much does it cost to run a business? Another story I'll just tell you. I had another business that came across my desk last week, and they were asking $800,000 for it. So it wasn't a cheap business. And I said, oh, great, cool. Let me check it out. I like them. I know the industry pretty well. I like the product. It was all okay. Everything stacked up from the outside point of view. And I said, can you just send me the numbers?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, sure. I'll give you access to Shopify and Google Analytics. I said, I don't care about those numbers. I need to see your accounting numbers. And he's like, oh, I don't really have them. I said, so firstly, you're selling your business for, $800,000 and you can't tell me what your profitability is. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Wow. But you need to be able to have some sort of, you need to show why your business is worth that value.
Yep.
That's the key. Yeah.
Why your business is worth that value. And what, is there specific things that would make it worth that value? So I'm talking about if I'm a business owner right now, small business owner, just trying to, okay, I'm going to be acquired in 5 years' time, right? I've got a long-term goal. What are the things I should be growing? So what are we talking about? Email lists? Yep. What are the bigger things that make you worth something, or just a good signs of a healthy company?
Yeah, a healthy company is when they're not leveraged in one channel.
Okay.
So, and this isn't necessary for me to acquire. I acquire businesses that are in slight distress that I can improve. So that's not... it may not be for you. There are other people that like to buy businesses, invest in them, and just have them grow like that. There's two different types of investors. But in terms of having a sellable business, you need to not be leveraged on, a lot of people just are all in on Facebook, and all they do is Facebook ads, and all their revenue comes from Facebook ads. And if their Facebook ad stops, they have no revenue. That's a bad business.
Which has happened for a while. That's a big point right there for a
exactly. And the same thing goes for Google Ads. And you might be having a killer Google Ads campaign, and for some reason they go, well, actually, we don't like you anymore. You're suspended. And to get that back can take time. So I like to see a healthy business is one that has 3 core marketing channels driving a consistent amount of traffic from each channel. So we have a good amount from paid traffic. We have a good amount from earned traffic, which is like SEO stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a good amount from owned traffic, which is your email marketing and your existing customers. So that's a nice, healthy business. The other healthy factor for us is what is your orders per year per customer? So that helps us understand the lifetime value. So if you're getting customers that buy from you more than once a year, then we've got a healthy business because we're starting to see retention and return customers. So that helps us because we know, okay, cool. Can we make them buy more from us? Because the more we can have a customer buy from us, the more money we can make and the less we spend on marketing.
Now, a lot of brands that honestly don't care about the first sale. They're like, we just want to acquire a customer. We're all about the customers. Let's get them in the door and we'll sell number 3, 4, 5, 6 sale. That's what they're after.
100%.
Yeah.
But do you have a product that can do that?
Totally. Yeah. You've got to have that front end built. There's a lot of other moving parts. You can't, don't everyone just do that. You'll probably go broke if you're not, if you're thinking that way. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, mate. The other question I was going to ask, what kind of multiples in the e-com game are we talking about? Is it like I've worked in software. I've actually sold other businesses. I've sold cafes and other things. I've never sold an e-commerce store. So I don't really know what kind of multiples we're looking at there.
Yeah, I guess I make up my own multiples based on the business, but I think as a rule of thumb, not a rule of law, is the longevity of the business will increase the multiple. The lifetime value of the customer will increase the multiple. Mm-hmm. So I'll explain that a little bit. So the lifetime value, let's just say you had a coffee business, which was on subscription, and you had, a subscription pipeline of 10,000 coffee customers, and you knew for the next 12 months what your revenue is going to be. You would have a much higher multiple on that because you have projected revenue.
For sure.
So that's one thing. If you had that over 5 years' time and a consistent history of that, then your multiple would be amazing, right? Highly investable business because it's money for jam. You're not spending any money on acquisition. So that's a big one. In terms of multiples for sort of an everyday non-subscription type business, we do it multiples of profit, not multiples of revenue. So think about that.
Okay.
So
that's
if you have
something I haven't really heard of in this space, really.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense.
I think that's a
better. I think what you're saying makes sense, but I've never really heard people talking like that.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way you can do it, right? Yeah. Because I don't value a business based on its top line revenue. I value it based on the money that it puts back in the bank.
Yeah.
So if you think about, you've got a business that does $1 million a year, and just to make my maths easy, and it's doing $100,000 in profit. If that business was a year old and done maybe 2 years old, then I'd just be super simple. I'll give you 2 times multiple, right? As an example of the profit over the last 2 years.
Yep.
If it's 3 years old, I might go 2.5 to 3. If it's 4 years old, 4.5 to 4. Okay. If we're seeing consistent profitability on those lines, so we would add up the profit over the 2 to 3 year period, and we do a multiple on that profit number.
Yeah.
So in that instance, if it was $100,000 year on year of profit, which pretty unheard of, but maybe it's 50 one year, 100 the next year.
You want it to be growing. You want it to be going this way rather than it was $100,000 over 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if it was $100,000 over 3 years and growing, then we would do the multiple on the 100,000 over 3 years.
Yep.
So $1 million revenue business could only be worth 350 maybe.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense, man. Thanks for clearing that up. The other question I was going to ask is how does capital work for you when you're acquiring? Did you get this funded or did you just do it all yourself out of your own pocket?
Look, I'm fortunate enough it's self-funded. So that's how I like to be that. Whether that will be like that in the future, I'm not sure. But it's just the way we tailor the deal. You can do self-funded, you can do vendor finance, you can do all different ways. You can do share to sale, which is like, they take a profit share for a little while to pay back the business, which is like a vendor finance, and then you take it back on. But in these 2 acquisitions, they were relatively, they weren't that big, and we were able to self-fund them.
Yeah, cool. No worries, man. All right, sweet. I want to move on. Like we smashed through that. Cool. Let's get talking about your strategy and your coaching, man. Let's try and level up some people right now. At a high level, what is it that your coaching team do for stores?
Yeah, so our goal is to turn people from a small online store to $1 million online store. And we say $1 million online store is someone that is doing sort of $84,000 a month, which means they're doing $1 million a year. And I think that's just a nice number. $1 million sounds great.
Makes it easy. It's marketable.
100%. It's definitely a marketing tactic, but that's our goal. And my goal is to have, at least $50 million stores that have come under my watch, and that's our goal. And we're not too far. Well, we're close.
Wow, that's
our
awesome,
strategy,
man.
yeah, we're getting there. I think maybe by the end of the year we'll be close.
That's awesome.
So our strategy is we look into sort of four key areas. One is we help people attract new customers. We help them acquire them. We help them retain and convert, and then we help them scale their stores. And we have a framework that allows them to do that. And we break the framework up into three areas. One is, if you're an emerging store, so you're a startup under sort of the 10 to 30K mark, we have a whole heap of strategies in each of those core components. If you're a little bit higher than that, so saying 30 to 50K a month, we call you an entrepreneur, and you go through a whole heap of strategies. And the fourth one is we call you our elite, and you're the ones that are getting to the $1 million a year mark, and we have a whole heap of strategies. So the three strategies that we use is first is making sure we have the right product market fit. The second one is where are we selling and where else can we sell to? And then the third one is how do we go global? They're sort of the key markets for us. Yeah.
There'd be a lot of people listening right now being like, $1 million, that's impossible. $100,000 a month, that's ridiculous. But I've seen it firsthand. I've seen stores go from 15 grand. Like, I think the first ever store I worked with, this was just in direct response. I didn't even know email and anything like that. We just got good ads flowing. And if you just crack the right product to market fit, we scaled the first store from, it was like $2,000 a month. She went straight up to 30 grand in the next month, and we blew up her business because I just knew ads and my team only knew ads. We didn't know how to help her with her business model and everything like that, which I'm sure you guys can help with. We didn't know how to help her with the back end, but we could easily scale these stores once you get product to market fit. Yeah, awesome. I'm excited for you to hit your goals, man. 50 stores at $1 million a year. That'd be great.
That's the plan.
That'd feel good too.
I'm lucky to have acquired some experience, and if I can share that with people, then I will. And we talked about it earlier, but it's process and framework.
Yeah.
What works for the $100 million stores I've worked on versus the $500,000 stores I work on is the same. It's exactly the same. The difference is the money that you're spending and the team you put into it. The strategies are all the same. They're just bigger. That's the only difference. Yeah. So the strategies we rolled out at, 2xU, both through Asia, New Zealand, Asia, America, everywhere like that, is the same as what I'm doing at Aquire Direct. And it's what we're doing in the team in $1 Million Store, because they all apply the same. It's just the scale of the difference.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And I guess it's also, it's product to market fit obviously definitely comes into play. I think a lot of people are struggling with, this isn't working. This isn't working. And they struggle through it for like 6 to 12 months. This isn't working. And I'm like, honestly, I don't like saying it to people, but you probably don't have the product to market fit. Like people just might not want what you have. And that's a hard conversation to have, I'm sure, with people.
Yeah, look, there's probably a couple of things there, Ty.
Yeah.
One of them is maybe it's not a product to market fit, or you're not putting in front of the right market.
Okay, yeah.
So we look at that as well, or making sure that you've got your marketing game dialed in. And we're not all about marketing. So marketing is part of it.
Yeah.
Optimization is another part of it, and operations is another part, because they all need to work together. So marketing is how we drive people to the store. Optimization is making sure we get the most from the people at the store, and operations is making sure that we do what we say to the people that buy from the store. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
I said it really fast, but it made sense, right? So we look at those areas is, are you marketing correctly? Are you paying for traffic? Are you earning traffic? Do you own traffic? That trifecta I talked about earlier.
Yep.
The people that come to the store, are we optimizing the experience for them? Are they seeing the product in a way that we want them to see it? We have a strategy called the perfect product page, and we want to make sure that all the things are there that make your product page convert really highly. And if they don't convert highly, we're measuring that. We're saying, well, they're not actually clicking the add to cart button. So what are we going to do about that?
Yeah. Wow.
So we use data to make decisions. And then in operations, we're like, okay, you've got 50 orders today. How do you get them out the door quickly? And when they do go out the door quickly, how do we make sure that we get feedback from the customer so that we can continually improve? So that's the way we scale the businesses.
Yeah, wow. Just quick throwback. Now you just reminded me. Do your other brands, so Aquire Direct and the Colourpods? I nearly said Colourpods again. It just rolls off my head. Sorry, man. Colourpods. Are you in the day-to-day operations of that too? Like you've got teams that are actually sending stuff off and everything, or is this like a drop shipping kind of thing, or not really?
Yeah, so we do have teams. We've built up a little cohort of people operating out of the Philippines that do all our customer service and order management. Okay. Which is really cool. And we train them up they actually use the $1 Million Store program to get trained up, which is really neat. With Gear Direct, we were shipping from supplier, which is sort of dropship. But as that business has grown, we're setting up our own warehouse and we're doing our own shipping ourselves.
Exciting.
Colourpods operates out of 3PLs in the US and Australia. So we don't touch that product all that much. So there's a bit of a mix there in terms of support. It's out of the Philippines. Operations operates out of multiple different places. And then marketing, we actually have 2 marketing coordinators that work for us as well that manage that.
Okay. Wow. Great, man. Cool. Hey, look, let's pretend I'm a brand, right? I'm turning over $15,000 to $20,000 in my store right now. My product, I think I've got product to market fit. I've got a pretty consistent 20 grand turning over. And I come to you guys, I've joined the course and everything like that. Where are we going to start? Like, what are you going to start looking into? I'm guessing it's to do with those frameworks you were talking about before. You're going to hit them with operations, this.
100%. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So what I do is I put the big brand lens on. So if I think about if this brand was $100 million, what would your team look like? And who would you have working on areas? And you'd have someone in operations, you'd have someone in web development, you'd have someone in marketing, and you'd probably have someone in product. Okay. And in most businesses, they have 20, 30 people in each of those departments. What I do with the people is we have a thing called a kickoff call, and I pick the person's brain and we chunk up tasks into each of those areas. And what I do, because the biggest problem with us entrepreneurs is we lose focus and we get shiny object syndrome, is I say, these are the 3 things you need to do next and don't do anything else. Okay. And I'll be able to pick the 3 silver bullets that are going to help them grow. And it may be, who knows, it could be operations. It could be something in marketing. It could be the website. And we say, all right, you need to do that, and you need to do it in this order. And they just go ahead and do it. Now, we also have strategies that help them do it. So, if it's email campaign planning, which might be one of the strategies, is like, okay, you've got an email list, but you don't send emails to them. We need you to do email campaign planning, and Ty, you'd go, I don't know how to do that. I'm just an app guy, right? You know what I mean? Yep. I'd say, well, that's okay. We actually have a strategy we prepared for you earlier with a whole heap of worksheets and documents. Yeah, wow. A video tutorial that you can do. So I want you to go ahead and do that. And so that's the framework and the process part that comes down to it. Yeah. And then they jump on a call with us every week, and we coach them through what they're working on. Cool, mate. Well, sounds like a great framework you've got. Yeah, it's awesome, man. Everything's framework. You said before, silver bullets, man. Are you willing to give away a couple of the bigger, or the main silver bullets that kind of hit most people when they come to you? Is there ones that just keep coming up, especially I'm talking 2022 recent. I feel like there's a whole heap of recent things in the e-com world that just happened. And a lot of people are raising similar kind of problems and questions. Grow your own audience, right? So build your email database and send more emails. That's the silver bullet. Send more emails. Don't be scared to send emails. Don't be scared. If there's anything anyone can take out of this call, just send more emails. People aren't going to be concerned. Trust me. Trust me. Send more emails. You heard it, guys. So the last brand that I work with, so there was this pivotal moment where they just skyrocketed. And it was literally when we figured out how to get the marketing team to decide to send more emails. We knew we had to do it. So there's like a bit of a war, like the direct response team, like scaling team, were like, hey, we should be doing this. And the marketing team are scared to lose control of their brand. And they think that people are going to judge them. We're going to be too spammy and everything like that. And it's just this butting heads thing. And as soon as we started doing it, the brand literally skyrocketed. And the pivotal moment we found was we put it back onto the team and said, hey, why don't you just get more creative with your emails? Why don't you actually get better at them? Don't spam. Don't be the person that you're scared of doing. Just get better at what you're doing. And it's going to work. And like, would you agree that it is one of the big high leverage plays that people can be doing? I'll let you in on a little secret, which a lot of early stage or come on, give it to me. E-commerce stores don't realize. All the big brands, they make 50 to 60% of their revenue purely from email. Wow. That's really big. Purely from email. Everyone thinks it's all about Facebook ads and Google ads. They are very important parts of the marketing funnel. Email's where it's at. And the thing is, why email is so good now, and that's why Klaviyo has no right to be this good, is we know so much about our email customer that we can send them personalized emails that are relevant to what they're looking for at the time they want it. And that's where Klaviyo is really awesome. And the other thing about sending emails is you own your data. Wow. You've got all these first-party data issues, or these third-party data issues with Facebook, and Google will kick off soon. Klaviyo, you own that. You know it. well, Klaviyo owns it, but it's your owned data, and you can do what you want with it.
But Brendan, how do I build my email list?
Well, you just, that's a secret that you're going to have to contact me about. No, like a really quick, easy win, right?
Yep.
Just run a competition.
Yep.
Give something away that your audience likes, that is relevant to what you sell, and people will sign up to your list. That's the easiest way. And so there's 2 ways to grow your list. You've got me on a tangent now, Ty.
I like it. I want the tangent stuff. That's what I actually want.
You've got 2 ways to grow your list. One is on your website, your little sign-up bonus, all those sorts of things. Give $10 off. We do that. It goes exceptionally well. But you want to also get email addresses of people that aren't on your website. So Facebook ads aren't dead. Use them to get websites, email addresses. Run a competition on Facebook. Ask for your email address, and then you're in your list. It's really simple.
Are you, when getting a little bit technical with the ads, are you running Facebook ads like lead ads to get emails, or are you running to a landing page to gather emails? And are you using a tech like Gleam, Viper? There's a few competition apps and things like that that are out there.
We're trialing lots of different things. So lead gen ads are great because they don't leave Facebook. But the negatives of it is you don't get to pixel the person. They don't get to your site. There's things like that. So there's pros that you're more likely to get more email addresses, but you don't get the value of the pixel, which is sort of one of those ones. Got one of the clients in the group now, actually right now, trying Gleam. I'm not a fan of Gleam. That's just maybe my personal preference. I just think it's too clunky now and it's a bit gimmicky. And he's not getting many signups on it. So I said, you know what, let's just scrap it, embed a Klaviyo sign up form and try that. And we do seem to be getting a lot more things like that. So I don't have an answer for you. I think it's all about trial and error. And I think that's what people in e-commerce need to realize is everything is trial and error. And what works for you may not work for someone else and vice versa. We are very fortunate in e-commerce and digital that we can track and measure everything. So we need to take advantage of that and don't be scared to try and don't be scared to fail, because if you fail, you learn. And that's what I really like about it.
I heard you talking about lifetime value before. And I think it's actually really kind of hard for people to measure lifetime value and get your head around that. I don't know how you are measuring. Have you got some kind of tool or a process that you're doing to figure out lifetime value?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is really hard to measure. So I came up with a metric in my group. And we just want to increase the amount of orders per year per customer.
Okay.
Right? Because if you increase the amount of orders per year, then you increase their lifetime value.
Yep.
Right? So let's just say we're getting someone's out of 100,000 people, we're getting 1.8 orders per year from those customers. If we were to change that to 1.9 or 2 orders per year, then our business changes.
Yep.
So we just got to think of initiatives that are going to do that. And it could be, funnily enough, email is a really good way to do it. But it could also be new products. It could be upsells. It could be upgrades. And so once we start to think about that metric of orders per year, we then start to think of strategies and techniques that can make people buy again from you.
Yeah, wow.
Because we're all focused on getting new customers. We're not focused on selling to our existing customers.
Totally. I hear that constantly in the industry. What's when you keep going back to email, mate, what do you think is like a safer number for people to be able to, of emails to be sending over a week?
I'm a 2 to 3 email a week. I'm a 2 to 3 email a week guy.
Okay.
I think that's fine. I think with someone who, if you're a brand that emails once a month and it's a newsletter, stop that. Don't do that anymore, because that's not very good. There's no intention. There's no purpose around that.
Yep.
But I wouldn't go from 1 email a month with newsletter to 3 a week. Right? Yep. That's too much. We need to ease people into it. So we'd go from 1 email a month to maybe 1 every fortnight. And then we slowly ease it in. We go then we go 2 every week, and then maybe 3 every week sort of thing. So easy way into it, because you don't want to, yes, you have to respect your list as well. And we want to make sure that the list itself doesn't get annoyed with you because they're not used to receiving emails from you.
Yeah.
The other tip though, is,
come on.
The other tip is give, then ask. Okay. So what I'm saying about that is we don't want to have a sale in every email or a buy now in every email. We want to educate people about things. We want to, it could be things like, our 10 favorite products of the week, our, why we wear this, or who this goes with. And then we say, by the way, if you want to buy it, here's something you could buy. So it's, wow. I think even Gary Vaynerchuk has a similar thing, which is jab, 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 right hook.
Yep.
Similar concept, give, then ask for the sale. Because people are happy to be given things, but they don't want to always be asked for things.
Do you do things like repurpose content and things like that as well? Sending to blogs and then pulling like, I don't know, collaborations and then repackaging that into an email, like constantly pulling everything back to email and repackaging things?
Yeah, it's a good way to build out email content, because especially if you're like a 1 or 2 product store, like Colourpods, as an example, it's a 1 product store.
Yeah, wow.
For now, so it's really hard to email. We're not doing email very well, so I need to take my own pill for this one. But we do need to do better emails on that. But repurposing content is going to be one of those strategies. Is we're writing blogs, we've got influencers, we're getting reviews on third-party sites. These are things that you can put in your email.
Yeah. Cool.
And,
I've got a lot of people actually messaging me, because I'm big on email too, and I've said it a ton in groups and things like that. But a lot of the time people go, I don't know what to write about. I don't think I'm a good writer and everything like that. But like some of the nuggets you just gave us then, I think are really important. People can do that. They can repurpose content. Get other people to create the content for you and just make it look a bit nicer and put it in an email. Okay, mate. Look, you talked about some awesome things. We've got some silver bullets, but have you figured out the silver bullet for attribution? I'll explain. So post iOS 15 to everyone who's listening, there's an Apple update that kind of stuffed up. Like, I can't bother getting into everything, but basically it's really hard to track who's buying from your store and which platform actually sent that click to your store. Have you figured out the silver bullet of how to attribute that?
So attribution is a really interesting topic that I can talk for hours about over a beer, because there is no answer. Okay. And there's no answer.
Zero answer. There's none.
There's not an answer. Okay. Well, there is an answer, but there's multiple answers. Okay, and it's a little bit like art in the sense that everyone has an opinion on what art means and what art means to them. So I got a picture here of Banksy on the back, right? And this might mean something different to multiple different people and their interpretation of it. So attribution is just a way for you to interpret data to the way that you like it, right? Okay. So that's one way to think about it. The other way to think about attribution is it needs to be done differently for the type of campaign you're running, right? So attribution, if you think about it, is a number of things. One is the window of time that you're given to a sale to be made, okay? It's the amount of channels that it touches through that period of time. And it's how much value you attribute to those channels. So let's think about it this way. Let's think about a Black Friday campaign.
Yeah.
We run a Black Friday campaign over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's a 4-day campaign. Our attribution model should be different for Black Friday versus a month-long product launch campaign. Completely different, because that's a 30-day campaign that has a different window and different metrics to go by. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we can't use one attribution model across our whole entire business. In saying that, we still need to be able to measure the success of our campaigns. So we use last click attribution a lot of the time. Okay. And the reason we use that is because it's the only real sense of truth that's real. Yeah. It's the only one that's real. Last click or first click, they both offer similar things. Do you want to give the value to the first click? Do you want to give the value to the last click? That's part of it. But the other layer to that is we need to have different return on ad spends for different marketing channels. Okay. Have to, because different marketing channels have different intent. So
how do you measure that? Breaking down in channels now. I mean, like Facebook, for instance, is like, how do you just measure return on ad spend from Facebook right now?
Well, that's why last click's important, because you don't use Facebook to measure ROAS. You use your own calculation to measure ROAS, right? So you use last click attribution, a last click revenue from a channel. So you think about Google Analytics.
Yep. It's all done through Google Analytics.
I predominantly use Google Analytics.
Okay, cool. Google Analytics, right? Everybody. Yeah. 100%.
If you're not using Google Analytics, you're not doing e-commerce. So I would look at how much revenue has Facebook given me at a last click level? How much have I spent? Then I work out my ROAS on that. Pretty straightforward, right? I spend 10 grand, I make 10. I spend 1 grand, I make 10 grand.
On last click.
10 to 1 ROAS.
Everything is
last click.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty rare in Facebook to get a 10 to 1 ROAS at that level. So we would say for Facebook, it's an upper funnel channel predominantly. Yeah. So we should expect a lower ROAS. Yeah. Google, however, is a demand channel where people are searching for things and have a higher intent. So we should get a higher ROAS. So that's how we play it out at the last click level. We go, okay, cool. We spent 10 grand in Google, we made 100 grand. We got 10 to 1. Facebook, we spent $1 grand. We made 5 grand. We got a 5 to 1. We have a blended ROAS of 7.5. So that's sort of how we think about it.
Blended ROAS.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You hear that, guys? It's really simple.
It is simple, but it does sound complicated.
No,
but
it is. Do you have tools as well? Like I'm just envisioning, because you're a numbers tools guy. Like you might have created something that makes this easy for people, or
we do have a ROAS calculator, funnily enough, that allows people to determine what ROAS needs to be.
I just thought you would. I'm just like, he's got something packed away there somewhere.
It's funny that you say I'm a numbers guy. I don't think I am, but anyway, I guess I am.
I don't know. It's just the way I see it. I don't know. Just call it how it is.
But I guess if there's a simple takeout, if I go back to my superpower, complex made simple.
Yeah.
The amount you spend versus the amount you make is the number.
Okay.
Don't get stuck into the numbers of my 14-day ROAS on my view through conversion rate, my last. Don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Just worry about how much you spend and how much you make, and is it enough? That's all you got to think about.
All right, cool. I'll keep moving on. So what are your favorite ways to drive top of funnel traffic? So a lot of people are struggling with top of funnel, I've found. So both organic and ads, it can be whatever it is. And I say favorite, but I mean, it's more like, what are the high leverage ways that you're trying to work with right now?
It's a loaded question, Ty. I don't have a clear answer for this yet, and I don't think anyone really does. Right now, we're trialing, still using Facebook, but we're trialing using lookalikes off our owned audience to create an upper funnel ad. So for those of you who don't know Facebook very well, we're using the email addresses out of our email platform. We're putting them into Facebook, and we're saying, I want you to find people that look like this and show them our ad.
Yep.
That's all we're saying. So what that means is we're not blasting it and trying to use the pixel to find people. We're using our own data to find the people that look like our customers. That's sort of our little strategy that seems to be working. It's not like the days of old where you could just blast it out there and get heaps of sales.
Yeah.
We're dabbling in TikTok. TikTok seems to be pretty interesting now. I really like that.
Tell me about TikTok. What do you found in TikTok? I want to hear it.
I haven't found anything I can share yet because I'm not certain it's 100% right. But we're finding we're just getting a lot more reach and views. Whether it's turning into sales, not sure yet, because we can't connect the attribution of that yet.
Yeah,
so that's something that we are going to do. TikTok's one. YouTube is another interesting one, which I think is underrated in e-com. You know, a lot of people don't think about it, but I actually think it is a really good channel that we can measure really well. So YouTube and TikTok are sort of where we're playing at this stage.
So I guess this comes to both of those channels. So when I'm on YouTube, how are you, my experience running ads on YouTube is it's not normally as profitable as Facebook, or it's not as good as Facebook when it comes to running traffic it's going to buy from you, like that's ready to purchase from you, I guess it is. And the same kind of thing is in TikTok. Is there anything that you're doing in between? So are you running like a specific ad about a product and then saying click here, and then you go to a page and then just purchase? Or is it like a retargeting sequence, or you got some kind of strategy that's going on with YouTube?
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's the same strategy across all upper funnel. Is we want to just move them to the next step. Yeah. So you got to have view through ads and all that sort of stuff, but we want them to see the ad and make some sort of action. And whether that is, enter a competition, whether it is get something for free, like, get $10 off your first purchase, or whether it's just purely check out this product. We just want to move them to our site in some way, shape, or form so we can pixel them or grab their data somehow, because then we move them into our middle or funnel, which is where we start to be able to know who they are and what they like. And
do you find one of those work better? Like the whole free giveaway, or get an email? Do you normally go down that avenue with YouTube first rather than go, hey, here's a product, buy it?
No, we wouldn't be straight into, it's like when you're dating, right? What are you going to do on your first date? You're probably not going to try and take them home. No. But we want to, at least let them get to know us. So look, none of them works better than the other. So it's a bit of a hard answer. Sometimes just giving $10 away off your purchase does work, but they might not buy straight away. And the goal isn't to get the sale. The goal is to get the email. And that's the goal here, is we're moving them through the funnel from seeing the product, give us some information, then we nurture them to get the sale. If we want to try and go from top of funnel to sale, it's going to be really hard. And there's only one way to do that, and that is to discount your product at a flash sale.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's literally your take on it. You should
100%.
If you want to get someone to buy straight away, flash sale.
Yep.
Top of funnel, flash sale. That's
top of funnel, flash sale.
Done.
Of course it is. Yep.
All right, cool.
That's how you get high rise on Facebook. That's how the dropship world used to work, right?
That's it. Top of funnel.
Free plus shipping.
Flash sale.
70% off and a free flash sale, flashing at the top. People will only buy if they feel like they're going to miss out on a deal.
Yeah.
We want them to buy at full price because they love our product and what we offer.
Fantastic.
And our product solves a problem for them, and the only way we can do that is nurture them through that process.
Date them first. Take them out for dinner. Give them.
And if you're a really good date a couple of times,
yeah.
they really get to know you and you get to know them, then the date will go well.
I love it. All right. So do you work with a lot of contractors?
A few, yeah.
A few? Like, okay, cool. I just assume this because you've got a lot of things going on. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's got contractors out there pulling this part or together, or the support team overseas and everything like that. The question is, how do you go finding them? Like, where are you looking, like actually online? And then also, how are you managing them? What's the go there?
Yeah, cool. So the contractors that we use would often be specialists. We would rarely use contractors that do general stuff because if we grab a generalist, we can train them up into what we want them to be.
Yep.
And when we say generalist, it's more customer service and order management because that's a skill that we can teach relatively easy. In terms of contractors, we might get people in like to set up tracking on websites and do some more of that techie stuff that they have a skill on, they can do really quickly. So we do contract out sort of the setting up all the data tracking for analytics and doing all that sort of thing. So we've used Fiverr. We've got a guy on Fiverr that we just buy that for, right? We say, please set up our Google Analytics tracking for e-commerce, and he does it.
Beauty.
Yeah, it's really easy. Or we'd use Upwork. We sometimes use onlinejobs.ph for Shopify. Well, we don't use Shopify now because we have our own agency, but we used to use Hey Carson. That was really good.
Yep. You've used them? I've heard good things about Hey Carson.
Yeah, Hey Carson's great. Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Okay.
The way we manage them, though, is we run Asana. So I don't know if anyone uses Asana. We have an Asana board. We bring them all into the Asana board. We put the tasks in place. And then we use Slack to manage the communication. Mate, and seems to work pretty well so far.
You got this sus, man. I love it. Cool. This industry moves fast. There is so much going on. I don't know. We're going to have Google hologram 3D stuff in the future, digital everything, and ads stop, Facebook stop. TikTok is now the new thing. How are you staying on top of it? Like, are you, where do you go? Where is your source of information?
I like Twitter.
Okay.
And the reason I like Twitter, I don't post on Twitter. I don't do anything. I just consume. Yeah. But the reason I like Twitter at the moment is a lot of the US e-commerce specialists are on Twitter, and that's where they operate. And Australia is often a little bit behind the US when it comes to implementing things. Yeah. So we get our information first from Twitter. So I follow a few good guys there. Podcasts are out of control. Podcasts are great. Yeah. I really love those. I think it's the new way to learn. It's
any good ones that kind of stand out?
Look, yeah, definitely Unofficial Shopify podcast with Kurt. Awesome podcast. There is one that I like, which is called the Ecom Profits podcast is a good one. There's Ecom Playbook, which is interesting. It's about a team that acquired a whole heap of stores and did bits and pieces like that. So maybe it's more my little game.
Yeah, wow.
What else to listen to? They're the main ones for now from an e-commerce perspective.
Yep. Awesome.
And then I guess the last thing is, interestingly, I learn a lot from my clients.
Okay.
So we with our program, we don't do the work for them. We just teach them how to do the work. So what that means is they'll often go out and find new things to solve their problem. So, if they've got low bounce rates, high bounce rates, and they can't get traffic, they can't do that. Often they'll go out and find something to try and fix that number. And they'll come back to me and say, hey, Brendan, what do you think of this? And there's been some pretty interesting things that have come back.
You do a ton of stuff, right? And I'm sure a lot of other people are trying to juggle a million different things, trying to put in these processes, just starting up their business, building a startup, trying to figure out product to market fit, everything we just talked about before. How are you managing to juggle all of these ventures? Have you got a family outside of work as well? Or something outside of all of this?
Sure, I do. Yeah. So
kids, family.
I do. I've got two beautiful girls, a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they're awesome. I have a wife, and I go to the gym, and I enjoy my hobbies, and I try and work 8 till 5 every day. Thereabouts.
Okay. Yep.
I think the way to manage your work is you just have a single focus. And as I said at the very start of this, it's my goal is to grow stores, and I think I'm pretty good at it, so I like to do that. So really, all I'm doing is the same thing all over the place, but I just make sure that I structure my day in such a way that I'm not wasting time. So I know when you were trying to book a time with me, meetings are really important to me. My life lives by calendar. And And so my calendar is definitely my day, but my calendar is not necessarily made up with meetings. It's made up with also tasks and things to do.
You're saying you pretty much had your wife booking in as well, personal events and things like that.
Yeah, I do make sure that everything's in my calendar. So I guess the thing that I like is I like to have everything in one place. Is probably the way I do it. Yeah. So I don't have Post-it notes ever. I don't scribble down. I don't do things on my phone. I have everything in one place. So I use maybe 4 tools. Well, Gmail and calendar, Slack, Asana, and email would be the one. So email and Gmail and calendar are the same sort of one.
Do you do all of your Asana? You got all like tick lists and things like that in there?
Checklists in there. Yeah, I've got tasks in there. The other thing that's really important is delegating the tasks that eat up my time that I'm not so good at or is not a valuable use of my time is the part. So I delegate, and, using VAs is really big for me. I've got a couple of VAs that do a lot of work. Yeah, wow. So if you think about the $1 Million Store program, we create a lot of content, and that content is for our team and our group and marketing and all that sort of stuff. Part of that content, you've got video editing, you've got uploading, you've got all this copywriting that goes along with it. All I do is I record the content and I pass it off to someone else to do.
Wow.
Because my value, I just use my time where I can provide the most value. My value is in delivering the content and coming up with strategies. My time is not valuable in editing videos and writing copy. So I just make sure my time is used on things that provide value that no one else can do.
Totally. Did you find them on Upwork, the ones you were just talking about?
No, I got them from onlinejobs.ph. So they're in the Filipino space. Onlinejobs.ph is great. Yep. So for those of you who, it's a bit like Indeed.com or Seek.com or something like that in Australia. But it's the Filipino version of job boards. So it's like you put a job position up, people apply for the job, they send in their resume, and then you interview them. And that's sort of what we do. So we've got 3 VAs now that operate in the business. Wow. And they do a whole heap of different things. So it's really useful because they do the tasks that they're probably better at than me, to be honest. And no, they are better at than me. Not probably, they're definitely better at than me. And they get it done quicker, and they don't procrastinate, and they keep me accountable because sometimes I am a little busy.
I just want to wrap it up there. If listeners want to learn more about your services and everything like that, I guess we'll put a link down below to $1 Million Store. Is that where we want to go? Yep.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. No worries. And I saw earlier, we've got there's a giveaway, a free giveaway on there, 30-day jumpstart guide to your business. You can probably elaborate a little bit more on that, but then also there's a few products, so online course, ongoing coaching, one-on-one e-commerce. So that's, I guess, meeting with you.
That's all. So I guess if you're a store owner looking to grow and become $1 Million Store, $1 Million Store is definitely the best place to start. Even if it's just to download the checklist, it's like the first 4 weeks in running your online store. It's really good. It talks about some of the things we just talked about. It's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yep.
Process framework type.
Awesome.
And then I guess the other way we can connect is I do run a Facebook group like we all do these days. It's called the e-commerce training ground. Jump in there. I share some content that I teach to my group. Goes in there, and that's always a good one. If you just want to chat, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, although I don't use Twitter all that much. I don't need to consume. Just reach out, or LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. You've just typed my name.
He is everywhere. Yeah. Brendan literally is everywhere. I don't know how you do it, man. Thanks for sharing your expertise today with us, man. Like, honestly, there's been tons of gold in there, a whole heap of silver bullets shooting. I hope some guys have learned some things. And look, if you have learned some things today, please like and share this, spread the word. I want to get this out and help as many e-commerce businesses grow across the world. That's pretty much my mission with this whole channel. Thank you so much, Brendan. You're a legend.
Oh, it's been great. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Cheers. All the links will be down below, guys. Whee!